How many questions does it take to fall in love?
36.
Let's talk about that.
Good mythical morning.
We would love for you to make us a part of your daily routine. Hey.
Speaking of love.
I'd love that.
Love is in the air. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. And this is a time of year.
Or it's today if they're watching this tomorrow.
That's true.
Or it's a year from now minus a day if they're watching it a day late.
We could go on all day if we do that.
Yeah.
But people are thinking about love, they're thinking about relationships, and there is this idea that there's one true love out there for you to find. And you know what? Science is about to prove you wrong. It ain't about the person, it's about the process. No, you didn't say that. Yes, I did, let me tell you.
That's not very romantic, Rhett.
Recent New York Times article by a woman named Mandy Lynn I'm gonna say Catrone, even though it might be Catron, I don't know.
Rhymes with a beverage.
She's at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. She uncovered this study that was done about 20 years ago by a psychologist named Arthur Aaron. This guy devised an experiment that literally made people fall in love in a lab. Now, this guy discovered that—
That sounds romantic.
Essentially,
too.
Yeah, just listen on. That there are different variables involved in the process of falling in love, and they essentially involve sustained, escalating, reciprocal, personalistic self-disclosure.
Of course,
okay?
I knew all those at top of mind.
So if you think about what I just said, basically that means having more and more interpersonal closeness and self-disclosure with a person over time. And this usually happens—
That escalates and reciprocates.
Yes.
So it's going both ways.
And this happens naturally, right? It happens naturally as you're getting to know someone. But he said, if these factors are what determines if someone falls in love, can I create an environment where at an accelerated pace, two strangers can fall in love? And he created an experiment where in 90 minutes, people ask each other a series of 36 questions. And then after asking these questions to one another, they stare into each other's eyes for 4 minutes straight.
Really?
And it turns out that it works, and at least one of the couples involved in the experiment fell in love, got married 6 months later, and invited everyone else who was a participant in the study to the wedding. Now, very interesting story, right? But it kind of was
And
just—
where are they now?
Well, I'm not gonna talk about that, because that was a study that was done in the past. But
Okay.
this woman, Mandy—
She unearthed it, huh?
She had— there was a guy that was an acquaintance that she saw at her climbing gym. Apparently there's a climbing gym at this university.
So she's looking at his backside all day.
Yes, and she's also following this guy on Instagram. And so she's kind of stalking him a little bit.
She's following his rock climbing backside on Instagram.
Checking him out a little bit. But they're hanging out and she's telling him—
Like on a rock?
Nope, I don't know if they were at the gym.
Okay.
She's telling him about this study that was done, and he was like, let's do it. So they're at a bar. She brings up the 36 questions on the phone. They go through the 36 questions. It takes a little bit longer than 90 minutes.
Were they in person or were they talking on the phone?
The questions were on the phone.
Okay.
They were in person. That's key. Because if they followed up, they said, okay, they asked the questions and they were like, okay, we're gonna do this thing where we stare in each other's eyes for 4 minutes? And he was like, well, let's go to this bridge. And they went to the bridge. They didn't do it in the middle of the bar.
And let me guess, they fell in love.
Now they're in love.
Really?
They're in love. Now, okay.
So are these questions magical? No, they're scientific.
We're gonna talk about some of the questions, but I wanna just— one observation. This study found, the original study found that participants' propensity to fall in love had little to do with initial impressions. In other words, your initial impression of this person as they came from the other side of the lab and sat down and you looked at them.
Love at first sight. Not really
It
happening.
didn't really matter whether or not you thought this is the kind of person that I would be compatible with or that I'm attracted to or that I think I will fall in love with. It was the process of this self-disclosure over time at an accelerated pace, which kind of explains the fact that people who are with each other in certain environments over a certain period of time tend to fall in love even if they're an unlikely pair. But what we're gonna do is first of all, we're linking to the 36 questions and then we'll give you some advice of how you can use these 36 questions to potentially fall in love this Valentine's Day. Or at any time.
Or any day.
We're not gonna ask these questions to each other because we're happily married to women and we've stared each other in the face in a park awkwardly for a previous video and nothing happened. It didn't do anything for me except make people feel awkward. But
I don't need to do it again.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through some of these questions. I want you to think about your answer because this is an opportunity for us to fall in love, more in love with you, the mythical beast, okay? This could get a little bit awkward and maybe we'll stare in your eyes for 4 minutes at the end of this, or maybe not. Just think that we did. Let's go through some of these questions and give your honest answer to these questions.
Sorry, there's something in my eye.
Link.
It's love.
And also, if your answers to these questions suck, you can just use some of ours.
Got it.
Given, ooh, I don't know what just happened over there. Given the choice of anyone in the world.
I ate love out of my eyeball.
Whom would you want as a dinner guest? Anyone in the world, Link?
Gary Busey. Have you seen his Amazon Fire ads? The dude is.
You want to eat with that man?
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Have you seen his mouth?
I'm pretty fascinated. Have you seen his face? It's like, have you heard what he says?
Yeah. I might want to like party with him, like watch Amazon Prime with him, Amazon Fire with him.
He talks to his remote, and it understands him. No one else does.
I would say I would get one of those dudes from one of those Amazon tribes that hasn't seen anyone before.
Both Amazon, but different kinds.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, guys. And I would like take him to the Sizzler.
The Sizzler?
Just think of it, because he would blow his mind. He's running around trying to kill animals and stuff.
Foraging.
And I'm taking him to the Sizzler. It's not about me getting something. It's about watching someone experience something. Next question.
I'm sure he could show you plenty too.
If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? So you're gonna live to 90, but you can have the mind or body of a 30-year-old.
Okay, just a side observation. This is kind of mind-wrenching, but I could see how in a date setting, maybe not in a clinic, like his clinic, not like like the health department.
Yeah.
You could start to connect with somebody.
Don't meet people at the clinic.
Hey, you just go to your local clinic and start asking these 36 questions. I think I would want to. There's a risk if you get old, but you have like a nice looking 30-year-old body, because then that your mind may go and it doesn't even matter. So I think the less risky proposition is to keep your mind in full tact, and your body can kind of waste away.
I recently joined a gym, and there's a lot of dudes in there that are in shape but not real smart, and they seem like they're having a good time. So I'm just thinking, just be a meathead for like the last 10, 20 years of your life. They're having a good time, man. Right. Body of a 90-year-old, you don't want that, trust me.
And
do you have a secret hunch about how you will die?
No. Like, if I had a hunch, I would probably investigate it and tell people to make sure it wasn't gonna happen.
I think I'm gonna die on this show. We keep escalating the ridiculousness of the things that we're eating.
Oh, gotcha.
And one of these days, it's just we're gonna have a reaction, and that's gonna be the last show. Show 6001.
Well, if I had to choose, that's a good way to go. Document it, get some views out of it.
If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, the future, or anything else, what would you want to know?
I would want to know when I was gonna die. Like, I don't wanna know how I'm gonna die, but I do wanna know when I'm gonna die for just like planning purposes. It would be nice to know.
That would be horrible.
Well, it puts everything in perspective. Like, we should have that perspective anyway, but it kind of forces it. All right, I've got 4,221 days left. How many years is that?
I wanna know why coffee makes me poop.
Shall we Google it?
They don't know, man. Okay.
Probably.
And this is we'll end on a personal one. This is just a taste. Then you can go look at the questions yourself. When did you last cry in front of another person, or by yourself? And by yourself, but just answer one.
I don't cry as much as I wish I would.
I can take care of that.
But
sounds like something my dad
like
would
a
say.
pain cry.
I'll take care of that, son.
I feel like I should be more in touch with my emotions. But in the Lego movie, when bad cop got his good cop face taken care of, wiped off.
Oh, you cried?
Yeah, and then when Mr. Business, what's his name?
Lord Business.
Lord Business was a real dad. I didn't cry at that part though, but I almost did.
I cried at Cirque du Soleil. Yeah, I'll tell you about
like
that.
trapeze?
I'll tell you about that in Good Mythical
Like, you
Morning.
made a little bit of snot come out my nose. That was how ridiculous that was.
Okay, What does this mean for you? You have two options. If there's someone that you like, you can take these 36 questions and this study and do what this woman did and say, hey, there's these 36 questions. Let's give it a try on a date. Let's just try this out.
Like be upfront about it and say, and I mean,
you'll fall in love.
But it really puts your intentions out there.
You better be ready.
I'm in for love. I'm in for like a real relationship where you connect.
Yeah.
And that's coming on pretty strong. Yeah. So you gotta, that's a test in and of itself.
And the second alternative, the alternative to that is you could just do this subversively. So you could just work these 36 questions into one date and then work a period of time where you just like stare into each other's eyes. And you have to, maybe you put something weird on your face so she'll look back. Because
you're like in the Olive Garden eating like breadsticks and you're like, if you could know when you were gonna die, would you?
My wife and I asked each other questions like that on our first couple of dates. We did, and now we're in love. So it does
finally
work. Now, after all these years. All right, do you want to fall in love? Or are you gonna use these?
You have the
questions?
power.
They're in the description.
In the questions. Wield them at your own risk. Thanks for liking and commenting on this video.
You know what time it is.
Hi, I'm Seth. This is Heidi.
And it's time
to spin the wheel of mythicality.
Make sure you check out our podcast, Ear Biscuits, this week's special guest, Daystorm, and look for our song biscuit tomorrow morning on this channel.
That's right, every Friday is an Ear Biscuit, every Saturday morning is a song biscuit. Click through to Good Mythical More when we're gonna talk about more of these questions, the fall in love questions. Let's discuss them with you.
Contemplating fake plants. You know the thing about fake plants is they look real.
Yeah, they look so real, man. I find myself still wanting to water them. Should I not do that?
Sometimes they're so convincing that I wait for the fruit.
You know what? I don't think the plants I have are fake. I think they're real. I think they're after my soul. Yes, my wife is capable of dating and finding a replacement husband, or just a different husband. So it doesn't have to be a replacement.
It's just a little glimpse of how much of a control freak you are, that you want to control the rest of your wife's life in your absence.